What if you could ask ancient stones to tell you their secrets? And what if the language they spoke wasn't just about history, but about life itself? So today we're going to dive into this absolutely fascinating project that uses AI to do pretty much exactly that. It's blending ancient architecture with some seriously futuristic tech to see stone in a way no one ever has before, and it all kicks off with this one really powerful idea.
Okay, so this is the core concept, the big vision behind the entire project. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a statement that really challenges our most basic ideas about what architecture even is. Not dead stone, but a living organism.
So that's the big question, right? How can stone possibly be alive? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but the answer is actually rooted in a real place with a deep history and some very, very clever technology. So let's break down how on earth this is even possible.
All right, to answer that question, our journey has to start in Ethiopia, at this incredible site of the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. Now, these aren't just buildings, they're geological marvels, and as you're about to see, they are the perfect canvas for this whole experiment.
So to really get Lalibela, you first have to understand this term, monolithic architecture. What does that mean? Well, it means that churches weren't built up with bricks and mortar like most buildings. Instead, they were carved down, literally, freed from a single gigantic piece of volcanic rock. And this, right here, says it all. These structures have this unbreakable bond with the ground they're in. They are literally a part of the geology. And this incredibly intimate connection, well, it's the key to everything that comes next.
Okay, so if you're going to teach an AI to see these churches as living, what do you feed it? You need ingredients, right? In this case, there are two fundamental codes, the code of nature and the code of human faith.
So on one side, you've got the geologic grain. These are the natural organic patterns, all the lines and textures created by volcanic processes over millions of years. It's basically nature's fingerprint right there in the stone. And then on the other side, you have spiritual geometry. This is the human touch, the intentional, sacred patterns carved by people, the architectural rules of Aksumite masonry that gave these churches their shape and their meaning.
So you have these two totally distinct languages, nature's organic chaos and humanity's sacred order. They seem separate, but what if you could teach them to speak to each other? How do you combine them into one single coherent vision? Well, that's where the AI steps in.
This is the bridge. Generative AI is the tool that can actually learn the rules of both of these super complex systems. And this is the important part. Imagine what happens when you merge them.
The whole process is kind of like a three-step dance. First, you feed the AI all the data. Every pattern from the stone, all the architectural plans. Second, the AI starts to synthesize it all, finding connections, creating a new hybrid set of rules. And finally, this is where the magic happens. It visualizes. It starts generating images of a structure that is both geologic and geometric, creating what the researchers are calling a bioorganic simulation. Okay, so after all of that, what do we actually see? What is the big revelation here? We are about to answer that question we started with way back at the beginning.
The result is this: a way to see these ancient, petrified, literally stone-cold structures as if they were alive. The AI doesn't just copy the church, it reimagines it as a living system, where the natural patterns in the rock flow perfectly into the man-made architectural design.
And so we come full circle, right back to this incredible idea. But now, it's not just some poetic phrase, is it? We've actually seen the mechanics behind it, how the geologic grain and the spiritual geometry can combine to create a single living organism. And that leads to a really important question. Beyond being a cool experiment, why does any of this actually matter?
Well, it matters because this is way more than just a cool art project. For one thing, it reveals this hidden conversation that's always been there between the natural stone and the human hands that shaped it. It also reframes our heritage not as something static and frozen, but as this dynamic, living process. Plus, it shows us that technology, instead of disconnecting us from the past, can actually give us powerful new eyes to see it with. Suddenly, architecture isn't just an object, it's a process.
And that just leaves us with this one last kind of mind-blowing thought. This project found the life hidden inside ancient stone. It makes you wonder, what other incredible stories are encoded all around us, in the patterns of nature, in the designs of our cities, just waiting for the right tool to help us finally read them?